Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode of Pokemon FanArt. In this episode, we're going to be looking back at Dark Sylvania's DeviantArt again, and looking at some more evolutions of Pokemon. So, let's get started, shall we? Starting off, we have Tar, which is a rock poison type, and evolves from Muck when it is equipped with any type of fossil. Now, according to the creator, it is the pitch Pokemon, and its ability is Oleo Skin, which means that physical attacks just make 50% damage, water attacks don't make any damage, and fire attacks become super effective. The Pokédex entry for it also says, this Pokemon body is made of a very sticky oil in which many things can get trapped but can never be freed again. In its body, many different kinds of Pokemon fossils can be found, used like an armor. Now obviously, this Pokemon is based in the tar pits, like those found in Labrine, in California, where many prehistoric animals meet their doom. I think it's a good design, definitely, and I think it gives some more value to Muck and Grimer, really, because obviously this is a very, very strong Pokemon. Rock Poison I don't think is a type we've seen before, so it would be interesting to see how it's used, and definitely the design as well. Its tusks and its kind of hand with its another face in it, so that it just looks pretty awesome in my opinion, just overall in general. So now another kind of fossil-related Pokemon, we have an evolution of Kabutops, which is Kabutoxon, which is a rock-water type like its pre-evolution, and it evolves from a Kabutops when it's equipped with a King's Rock. Now, according to the creator, it is the Hook Pokemon, and this carnivorous Pokemon hunted on both land and sea, attacking small crustaceous animals with his long hook-like pincers and tail, which were able to pierce through any kind of shell. Anything they grabbed was as good as dead. Now, this evolution is based on the Ordovicic Predator, the Mixopredatus, a huge sea scorpion. This is very, very hard to say. So, obviously Kabutops is already based on the sea scorpion, so the creator is just building on that. I think the design is looking very good. It's getting an extra pair of arms, and like it has hooks on. What would I assume it's where its scythes, or evolved from its scythes, and it's got loads of like deep claws and stuff. That'd be very nasty for you to be coming into contact with. And the hook on its tail looks very cool, as well as it kind of curves round, and it could do a lot of damage, I think. So best to stay away from that. Similar to this, we have an evolution for Omastar, which is Omadosa. This is also a rock-water type, and evolves from an Omastar when it's equipped with a King's Rock, much like the previous Pokemon. It's the Horn Pokemon, and according to the creator, this big Pokemon used to be the primary predator of its time, feeding even with young members of its own species. Its hard beak is able to break shells and bones without problems. Now again, this is looking very, very cool design. It's based on the Orthoceras, a prehistoric squid-like mollusk, so it's similar to Omastar and Omni-T. And it looks very good, I think. It's kind of evolved from the Omastar to have be bigger, obviously, I would assume. And just looks cool, really. It's kind of like tentacles around its mouth, so you can imagine it hooking onto a prey and then just digging into its beak, and that'd be very, very painful indeed. You would not like to be on the other side of that. Next up, we have an evolution for Steelix here, known as Mechanics, which is a Steel type, which is interesting. It is a machinery Pokemon, and it evolves from Steelix at level 50 in the Fuego Ironworks. Obviously, it'd be adapted if it were in game for other generations too. Its ability is Heavy Gear, which means when its speed increases, its attack does too, and when its speed decreases, its defense increases. According to the creator, after being worked and refined inside the boiling facility to Fuego Ironworks, the once rough and crude body of Steelix became the perfect mechanism known as Mechanics. This gargantuan piece of engineering is made of many kinds of alloys, which make it incredibly strong and resistant. When it starts moving, it becomes as dangerous as a full-speed charging train. When immobile, it becomes as sturdy and impervious as a stronghold. Now obviously this is very interesting if we had a dual steel type, because obviously it would resist normal and other types of moves very much, a quarter of times instead of just half times for, the normal one steel type. And obviously it make it very weak to stuff like ground and fire. So it might be interesting to evolve a Steelix like that and see what you could do with it. I also think the design looks very good as well. A lot of mechanical stuff going on in there, and it's definitely similar to Steelix, but a lot different, and that's what really needs to happen with an evolution. And then here we have Satherlord and Astrodon, evolutions of Lunatone and Solrock respectively. Both rock-light types. Obviously light isn't a type in the actual game, so I would assume if it were to go in a game, it'd be fairy type, or they just keep it rock, or it might become rock-fire types, who knows. So Satherlord is the Moon Spirit Pokemon, and its ability is Gravitational Field, but however I don't know what it does. And it evolves from Lunatone via a Moonstone, which makes sense. This Pokemon is believed to be a sentient part of a distant moon, which came to life after years of exposure to cosmic energies. This Pokemon is gentle in nature, and his powers seem to be affected by the moon phases. Astrodon, on the other hand, is the Sun Spirit Pokemon, and is also gravitational field as his ability, and it evolves from Solrock via a Sunstone, again making a lot of sense. The creator says this Pokemon is supposed to come from a distant sun, born from the core of the raging star after a very violent cosmic explosion. This Pokemon is aggressive and with a fiery temper. His powers grow stronger during the daytime. So it's a very, very very interesting idea. I'd love Lunatone and Solrock to get evolutions either by Moonstone, Sunstone or otherwise. And they both look very nice designs, and I like the idea of probably Satellord being like stronger at night and Astrodon being stronger in the day, because that would make sense, since they are the Sun Spirit and the Moon Spirit. So guys, one last Pokemon for this episode, and it's a big one: Evolutions of Unknown. Now it's called Nazcrypt, and its type depends on its form. There are 4 forms here: the flying form, water form, fire form, and ground form. A hummingbird, whale, giant, and spider, respectively. Now, it's the Glyph Pokemon, and its ability is Elemental Lord, meaning that Nazcrypt will absorb all the attacks of its respective type and recover its health. So it's like having water absorb, fire absorb, etc. Its signature move is Elemental Burst, which the type depends on which Nazcrypt it is. It has 140 power and 70 accuracy. An explosion of elemental energy is released in all directions. The user must rest on the next turn, so it's like a Hyper Beam. The Pokédex entry, or the creator's Pokédex entry, says this ancient and mysterious Pokemon was once cohabitated with humans, but mysteriously disappeared over the centuries. They were supposed to be the deities of the 4 elements of the nature, who came to Earth from beyond the stars. Now, I like this idea. As I mentioned in one of my evolution videos recently, I'd like Unknown to get evolutions, because they're useless at the moment, but however, doing something like this would make them a lot more, doable, really. I'd assume they would evolve into different forms by having different Unknowns and stuff, but I don't really know how the creator intended this to be used. But they do look very cool, and I would definitely like to see them in the game, as I mentioned in the evolution video. But I'm not sure if it'll happen, because I think Unknown's just something that's there. It's just a gimmick, really. So guys, that's it for this episode. As always, Dark Sylvania's DeviantArt is in the description below, so you can go check out the rest of their art. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time while we're looking at more of Dark Sylvania's art. Bye guys!